The chopping block.
Yeah, man. So the chopping block's just kind of we're just gonna chop things up. We're gonna talk about music stuff. A lot of rap. We come from that background. We're gonna talk about beatboxing, all that good stuff. We're gonna maybe just review some things or discuss stuff. For the first episode, I kind of thought maybe we could talk about UT if that's cool.
That's fine. Yeah, we can do that. Put me on the spot here, talking about me. Let's do it.
Well, so let's just start off with a little sort of quick thing about, obviously you get asked this a lot, but what got you into the beatboxing thing, what got you into it really?
It wasn't like a specific thing. I can never really pinpoint it. All I remember is getting taught to play a tabla by my dad, and they used to go. That's the way it was taught to me to begin with, and I would just kind of imitate it on the tabla. And then I don't know what it is. Like I always just kind of done it. I used to do little beats like that. Or
Yeah.
Obviously, standard. Everybody knows the guy from Police Academy. He was doing all the robot stuff and the computer game noises. Yeah. And I think there's one Police Academy film where I think he comes up. I think they're in like a junkyard or something. And all the stuff falls in, and he gets up and he's like that, and the guy's like freaking out. Like,
right, yeah.
We loved that, like I loved that.
I remember. I remember the one where he's fighting someone like kung fu style. He did the sort of like old kung fu, and the guy throws a punch at him, and when his arm comes out, he grabs it and he makes the sauce bottle noise. He's like, woot, 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 and then takes a bite out of the guy's arm. Just like real fun. Yeah, good.
No, good memories
cool
on
stuff.
that one. You know what I mean? Somebody needs to revamp Police Academy. And like cast us too. You and I need to be in it. We have to be in it. It makes sense, doesn't it?
But I'd end up being Hightower or something. Do you know what I mean? That's what happened. No, but as soon as I got cast, they'd be like, "He's 6'9". You are Hightower,"
and I'm going to be Jonesy.
Yeah, you're instantly.
Listen, right? I know Scotland has Scot Squad, right? But we ain't got Police Academy.
Yeah.
I think we need to do it. You and I need to do a wee version of Police Academy. Definitely.
Possibly, mate. Possibly. I think. Yeah. It could be quite fun.
That's my idea. In case anybody tries to steal that. But let me tell you a little story.
2020.
Let me tell you a little story, right? So many years ago, perhaps 12 years ago or something, there's a website called humanbeatbox.com.
I remember, yeah.
Michael Winslow posted up a competition, send us your audio clips, and you could be featured on his album. Ooh.
Nice.
And guess who was one of the winners? Your boy, Big Taj, was one of the winners.
I do remember this, actually.
It was me.
I vaguely remember this.
Yeah, it was me, a guy called Indra. And there's somebody else whose name I could probably Google and find it, but I'm not going to bother. So there's three of us, and nothing ever happened. Nothing came of it. I emailed, I don't know if it's his wife who manages it.
Wait.
I don't know. What?
So you entered this competition, yeah?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, this is Jones from Police Academy, Michael Winslow, yeah. He's he's a legend in the scene.
Uh-huh.
He runs this competition. Big Taj enters the competition, right?
Yep.
Does his thing.
Yep.
He smashes it.
Yep.
He wins wins the thing, and
Three
the prize is
you.
Okay, so and the prize is you're gonna be on his CD, on his release,
CD album, yeah.
And then he patches you,
and they all got patched. Like,
man, no wonder Police Academy stopped after Police Academy 19 or whatever it was. With that kind of attitude.
Emails like, what's happening? Somebody let me know, and just I think I've still got the emails. I might actually screenshot them all and name and shame. But yeah, that's a true story. True. See if you search on Google Big Taj, Michael Winslow, it'll come up.
I will be doing that later, mate. That is, do you know, I'm not gonna lie. That is, imagine entering any competition and the prize is nothing.
Yep.
You've won, and you get nothing.
Nothing. Yep. We just patched the whole idea.
Mate, well, so basically you got into it. You were listening to
Michael Winslow,
Police Academy,
Jonesy,
all these things.
Police Academy, right? And then from there.
You stepped up to like open mics a lot, didn't you? You were sort of hitting up that circuit.
That was
which is cool.
No, I loved it. You know, I loved it, especially when you go to open mic nights that aren't hip hop. You know, you try to get another fan base as well, and you know, expose yourself to a different market, different audience. You know, so also my young influences, you know, Razel, Killer, Scratch, Kenny Mohammed.
Of course, yeah.
These were the dudes.
The legends, yeah.
Copy their style, copy their routines as much as I possibly could, and I took that to the stage. Okay, so yeah, I basically just done what they were doing. You know, I copied the "With your mother," that. You know, and I'm doing it just like Razel doing it. You know, so I'm at this open mic night and I'm going up like, "If your mother only knew," the beat and the chorus.
Yeah. Exactly how he does it on the CD. Yeah.
If your mother, you know, on the CD, everybody goes. Rah! That's exactly how it was. Exactly how it was, man.
In your mind or in reality?
Well, at the moment in my mind it feels like that, and in reality I can't remember if it was.
You know, so I like to speak. So Razel, you know, obviously he's the legend that he is. You know, the self-proclaimed, I'm assuming, godfather of noise and all this stuff. But you know, I had that the album with you know, All I Know and stuff on it. And
Make the Music.
You know, make the music, and the thing was with that kind of stuff, so I was into, you know, listening to beatboxers, checking them out. I heard a lot on CDs. I'd heard like Shlomo on the, you know,
Foreign
Beggars album, all this stuff. Obviously Killer, you know,
and what was that £10 bag mixtape or whatever it was?
£10 bag or something.
Yeah.
You know, so to me these guys were like amazing, right? I'm like, wow. But I remember the Razel album, playing it to people at the time, and to them they weren't. I mean, they were impressed. It's good music, but they weren't impressed because they're listening on a CD, right?
Aye.
So, have you ever found, from obviously that era and hearing these guys come up, have you ever found that sort of a weird thing that for you haven't put out, like, say, a beatbox album as such because it doesn't really transition well from, you know, it's like scratch DJs. It's like when you see a scratch DJ live, you're like, wow, this guy's phenomenal.
Wow.
And then you watch...
Yeah, you see the hands all blurry when they're scratching, you know.
So then when you listen to that on a CD, you're just kind of like, whatever. In a sense, I don't mean that in a disrespectful manner.
No, I know what you mean. You know, we try and explain that to people. Oh, he's doing that at the same time. Like, is he really? Is he? And to me, I know he was. You know, I'm listening to it. Like, in my mind, like, I visualize him doing it. I'm like, oh my God, this is incredible. But no one else around me gets it. You know, nobody gets it.
No, I was the same,
unless you were really, really into it, like yourself, you would get it. You know, and then as soon as I imitated it, then it was like, oh, damn. Yes. This is real. Yeah. You know, so that's why, like, you know, Scratch from the Roots also dropped 2 beatbox albums, you know, and yes, he did the whole only beatboxing, and it was good, but it was kind of not boring, but it was always missing that one little element, you know, and I think the whole looping and layering of beatboxing, as you know, has changed now. You know, especially with all the loop stations and effects you get on it now, like, you know, it's next level. It's next level, but it didn't transition very well into audio CD.
Into merch and stuff. Yeah, I think that's a big sort of issue with, you know, these beatboxers trying to sell, you know, this sort of CDs or vinyl or anything like that. I remember, you know, is it C2C, the French scratch group? They as well, you know, their whole album was what they may have more. The one that I heard, it was phenomenal, and I recognised listening to it that, you know, wow, they're doing all these cuts, they're juggling, they're doing all this stuff, but people listening to it are just like, it's just production, it's just good, you know. So if you put out an album and say, okay, check my album out, every track on there is 100% beatboxed, layered, you know, all this, I'm just going to be like, well, yeah, but, you know, you've put that many effects on it and all this stuff, it just sounds like a track to me. So
I think that live aspect, beatboxing is more that live aspect, you know. And when people see you build a track from scratch in front of your eyes, you know, that's where the wow factor is. It's not always in the music. Like, when you hear it on a CD, people are like, yeah, just a track. But when you see them doing it live, you're just like, damn.
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, no,
you know
totally,
what I mean? Like,
man,
you see some of these, you see some of these loop station battles, you're just like, how? You know, like how? I mean, I've tried that loop station stuff, and it's difficult.
I think it takes this sort of like, you know, it's this element in the brain that makes, you know, these guys beatboxing with the loop station and come up with these ideas and this crazy stuff. And in the same sense, it's like just producing anyway, where you know, you're making a new beat and you've got a little melody going on, you've got your drums, you start layering in, you know, you're putting the bass line or however the process is. And I think with these loop pedal guys, it's just to come out with such ingenious
incredible
ideas
stuff. And like we always say, bro, like that's that just beating on your craft. I think Will Smith said that. Do you know what I mean? You're just like constantly working on it. You know, these guys just sit with the loop stations just on it all day and just coming out with tune after tune after tune. You know, and the same with the practicing as a solo beatboxer. So I'm obviously a solo beatboxer in that sense. Obviously you and I are a duo, but I'm a solo beatboxer. And I remember just like, I never went out much when I was younger, right? All I done was beatbox because that's all I wanted. You know, sometimes I think back like, you know, I had a lack of confidence for not going out and I just stayed in all day just beatboxing. But then I think of where beatboxing has taken me, it was worth it. It was worth that sacrifice and not kicking about with a group of friends and just staying home, just beatboxing. When I've done those big shows and the TV stuff, I'm just like, yeah, it was definitely worth it. You know, still get that social anxiety, but it was worth it.
So let's say, you know, let's speak a little bit about that. So, you know, this show, The Chopping Block, it's myself and you. It's a joint venture, and we want to get other people on. But for this one today, let's talk about some of those things. So, without, you know, even if you are being braggadocious or boasting or, you know, any of the things people want to say, tell us some stuff. Where's beatboxing taken you? Like, just tell us a few.
I mean, country-wise, I mean, I've gone to
anything, yeah.
Oh man, I've gone to Holland, Germany, France, Ireland, around the UK, USA. Done the beatbox
New
battles.
York, I remember you were in New York.
You and I supported a lot of big name artists, you know, as well. And that's through the years of really, you know, working hard. You know, that's where that hard work comes from. This stuff didn't come overnight. And like you said, when I started off, it was that open mic night. You know, the open mic night introduced me to promoters. You know, guys who are promoting big gigs. Like, we need you to come down and, you know, support this act. And, you know, I didn't know much about it. You know, and the first big gig I done was with a Scottish group called All Time High. And
All Time High,
and we supported Ugly Duckling actually. And there was somebody else on that lineup whose name I've totally forgotten. But DJ Format, Ugly Duckling, and All Time High.
Right. Okay.
Yes, it was us, you know, and I was just like, this is incredible. And I didn't know how to act on stage. I didn't know how to behave on stage or anything like that. You know, no one ever showed me, no one ever taught me. I just through the years of performing, you know, slowly started to get used to like stage performance, you know, and how to present yourself on stage, how to hold a mic, you know, don't look down at the stage when you're performing. But it's just everything that I have achieved has been from working hard on the things that I do. Even like I'm happy to tell people I work a job, you know what I mean? I work a everyday job, and even then, like during my lunch break, 1 hour lunch break, jump out and, you know, practice what I can.
Man.
It's not. It doesn't even come down to practicing for a whole hour. It's just, you know, something I can just go back to basics and just do. For example, like just to tighten that up, you know.
Yeah, it's kind of that thing of you're sharpening your tools, aren't you? You know, you're keeping the tools sharp and being
and
ready.
It's okay to go back
prepared.
to always being ready, being prepared. You know, like always. Obviously, like we're in lockdown just now, so I haven't really prepared much. You know, but usually just ready to roll. My microphone's in my bag or in my car. Somebody says, "Taj, you need to do a gig." You know, I was ready and ready to roll. You know what I mean? But through the years, obviously, done the open mic night stuff, done the small gigs, and I've done the TV work. I've done the beatbox battles as well. I'm kind of known in the UK beatbox scene.
Yeah.
I always say kind of known. I am known. Because I
You
put
are
my work
known.
in, and I was that guy who represented Scotland, and I was the only guy there with a turban on my head representing my community, the Sikh community as well. Like recognisable.
I think what you're saying about you're kind of known and it's you are known, but it's this kind of attitude of what level you should be at, or people always assumed, you'll get these questions a lot of, I get it with the rap stuff, like, all right, man, are you still doing the rapping? And I'm kind of like, who asks somebody that? Are you still doing the thing you're passionate about? Love, Imagine the guy goes, what's one of your hobbies? Or I ride motorbikes. Imagine every time I see him, I'm like, all right, man, he's still doing the motorbike thing.
Aye.
Like, that's not a thing. It's a passion of yours. So,
yeah.
So, and I get asked this quite a lot, and I'm like, if you Google my name and check, you will see. Yeah, I'm still doing the rap. I'm still doing. All it takes is one quick search, and you'll find out what we did last year, or this year, or the year before. And you'll know when I last released a track or an album or any of this stuff. So, I think that kind of the way people speak about it is like, are you still doing this? And they look at it in it's his little hobby, but like you just said there, you travelled the world, man, doing this stuff. We have been paid silly money and next to nothing, and played to thousands and thousands and nobodies. We've you've had the ups and downs in this.
Dude, we've done that. We've done the empty venues. I've done that.
But you can also say, not being boastful, but you can say you've provided things for your family through
music.
The silly little hobby that people who grew up around you maybe thought was just this little phase thing, and you can be like, no, look, and I have the same thing. There was a couple of years ago, we got a PRS payment in December, and that kind of helped a big deal for Christmas for us. We always live sort of paycheck to paycheck, how we do, but and that was from the rapping that I do. This thing that people look at and go, are you doing the rapping? I'm like, are you still doing it? It bought all of our Christmas presents.
That's it, man.
This kind of attitude, or it paid my rent last month.
It paid the rent, Even you can look at it as the youth work that I done. I've been doing youth work for basically when I started gigging in the early 2000s. That's when the youth work stuff kicked in as well. And I learned so much about young people, what affects them as well.
I think that's an important thing as well. You getting in there and bestowing your knowledge and wisdom on people who maybe don't have role models to look up to, so they see somebody like yourself and they're like, wow, you've played shows here and there and done this and worked with these people, and celebrities, and you I mean, I'm pretty sure you get mentioned in Emily Sandy's book and stuff like that. You've rolled with these type of people, so for these young people who you're working with, it's obviously quite cool for them to look up to someone like you and go, wow, this guy's
my claim to
on a
fame
level with us.
Our claim to fame is obviously Coronation Street, right? Which we always have to mention.
Yeah, of course.
You and I and Corey.
Of course.
Corey,
we have been on Coronation Street, yes.
We have been on Coronation Street, and I think personally, right, now we know Corey don't just take people on, okay? Extras.
No.
They go through a lot to get that. That's the gig for some people, especially extras. They want to be the extra that is in there, who gets seen on TV and who will hopefully get a part or something in the show, but they have to go through the agency, and the agency, it can take months before they get on that, and then next thing I know, I've got this email sitting in my inbox saying, do you want to be on Coronation Street? We need a beatboxer, and I'm going to always be thankful to a beatboxer called Drace, who put my name forward, okay? He put my name forward for that, so I will always be thankful to him for that, and I'm in debt to him, and through that. But the reason I'm bringing that up is because Drace met me in 2009 and hasn't met me since. We did Corey in 2019, You know, 10 years, he still remembered me and like, get Taj. Because I went down and I was professional about it.
Made an impression on him.
Every gig, like, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm the best beatboxer, okay? But every gig I've done, I don't drink, okay? So I've been sober at every gig. I performed to my fullest and practiced. Yes, there's some gigs where I've winged it. We've all done that. You know, but it's the professionalism. I'm not going there so I can get free booze off people who enjoyed my show, I'll get free booze off the promoter. You know, I done that because this is what I love to do and this is what I wanted to do since I was a young kid.
That's a big thing that, you know, that's a big thing you can speak about to people listening who, you know, do music or maybe want to get involved with music and that side. You know, so like you're saying, you know, we're not the biggest artists, but we're also not down at the bottom. You know, we've worked hard over the years and we've been professional, and it's turning up and getting the job done. And no disrespect to anybody who wants to go out there and, you know, party up and, you know, live this lifestyle.
No, if you want to party, you go and do it.
You know, that's your thing. But if you want to make something serious out of it, you have to be that guy. And like you're saying, you turn up, you're professional. A guy remembers you 10 years later, boom, you're on Coronation Street, you know, living it up with Ken Barlow.
Yeah. It's not even just that, because you and I, right, like I said before, right, we've supported a lot of big name acts, okay?
Yeah.
And every time we met these guys before and after their performances, they were not drunk. They were not coked out of their faces. You know, they came through, they'd done the job. Whatever they do back at the hotel room when they finished, that's their business, you know? But at that time, you know, like when we met Immortal Technique, LP, Jizza, Method Man, Redman, all of those guys were not out their faces when they performed, or before or after.
You know what it is for me? It's that kind of... So I've been to shows and I've seen like live artists where... And I'm not going to name people and, you know, sort of get tagged online and end up in some Twitter beef with some famous rapper. But I've been to see rap shows, and not just rap shows, artists of all genres, and I've seen those ones who are trash. And they've put no effort in, or they've been too drunk to perform, or they've just been too fucked up. Sorry for the language. We'll beep that beep. Yep. But you know, I've seen some of these guys do that stuff, and I don't want to be viewed that way. I never want to play a show with you and hear 6 months later somebody saying, "Oh, see that guy over there? You know, that's Spee or that's Taj, and they were terrible. They were trash. They played here."
Exactly.
You know, I never want that. I never want to be looked at that way. Because what a
also
terrible
people think
thing.
we're trash. I don't even care.
No,
I mean,
but the thing is, you're only ever as good as the time somebody remembers seeing you, right? That is it. So, okay, you spoke about Immortal Technique, right? When we played that show, there's a guy around the area I live in who just so happened to be at that show, and you know, he bumped into me. He's like, "Yo, I saw you at the Immortal Technique show, blah blah blah. You guys were amazing." And he follows us online. You know, he's bought things off us in the past.
Yeah.
You know, we gained a fan from that. Now, imagine we were trash and we put no effort in. You know, imagine he wouldn't, you know, so we're losing these sort of, and it's simple maths, really. You don't
but
want to lose
that's right,
those,
you know, people, people say to me, people say, "Oh, how do you get all these gigs? You know, why are you always on the big shows? Or Taj always gets the shows." You know why I get all the shows? Because I'm professional. That's why. You know what I mean? I speak to the promoters with respect. I'm easy to deal with, because I remember, I can't remember what gig it was, but someone was booking me and they said, you know, "You're actually the easiest person we've dealt with out of everybody that's performing at this show." I'm like, "Yeah, because I want to do this. You know, there's no faffing about. If I said I'm going to be there, I'll be there with my microphone." You know, and you know, Spee,
turn up professional with the microphone.
Listen, you know, I show up to work with my tools. You know what I mean? I've been doing that for way before this pandemic. You know, people used to laugh at me because I always got my mic in my bag, or my mic's always in the car. But no way in hell am I sharing mics with anybody, because I've been there and done that in my early years.
Man, of course.
You know, and I tell you, I done a gig, I think it was in the 13th Note in Glasgow, right?
Yeah.
I think it was there. And I still remember this. I still remember the taste in my mouth when I grabbed that microphone, right? I grabbed that microphone, I put it to my mouth. Wasn't my microphone, okay? This is before I had my own mic. Put it to my mouth, and I inhaled, went, and everything that was in that microphone was now in my mouth. All right?
It's nasty, isn't it, when you think of it?
Like,
it's nasty.
I am done.
It's nasty. Like, we played certain venues, and I've been yeah.
There was another one, right? This is more recent. Like, I had my own mic, but I remember watching this guy and coked out his face on stage rapping, and I was just like, trying to pass me the mic. I was like, I ain't touching that. No way am I putting my lips on that mic. You know what I mean? But it was that one gig, man, in 13th Note, man, when I swallowed, because I used to wake up with like spots on my lips and like a sore throat and like ulcers in my mouth. I was like, I'm done. I'm done.
It's it makes you think a lot. Like I say, we were in a venue. And I'm not going to name the venue again. I don't want to end up on some Twitter beef over this as well. But I was given a microphone by the sound. I was given a microphone by the sound guy, and I had my own, but he passed me, and it looked like someone had beat the crap out of that microphone. Like the microphone. Do you remember when Mayweather knocked out Ricky Hatton, right? Like, and the microphone looked like he was Ricky Hatton, right? Man. And in that fight, he just got hit, smacked the floor, and just fell to bits. And this sound guy passed me that, and I'm like, right, first of all, that mic looks like it's gone 20 rounds with Mayweather. Yeah. But also, that's just the aesthetic look of the microphone. Never mind like how many lovely mouths have been all over the end of that microphone. Like, I was just like, nah, I've got my own, man. And he kind of was, he wasn't offended by it, but he kind of gave me a look as if to be like, oh, you think you're better than this microphone? And I'm like, I do think I'm better than that microphone. I'm way better than that.
Even like, this is my advice to folk, right? Like, my advice is this, okay? If somebody's getting a bit like, oh, you brought your own microphone, you know what I've noticed as well at some gigs, right? Some promoters, or the sound engineer, they'll tape the mic cable onto so they plug it in and they'll tape the mic.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can't take that cable out. I understand why they do that, because when you perform it doesn't fall out. And I remember seeing it, and I saying to the guy, man, I need to use my mic, but you know what? I just switched the grill on it. Take my grill off, put it on his mic.
You can screw that off the SM58.
So this is just a bit of advice to people like, oh, but the sound man, he tapes the mics. Even see if you don't have your own mic, buy a grill. Most places have an SM58 mic, right? Just buy the grill and just switch the grill on it, alright? If you can't afford a mic just now, right? I know SM58 will cost you like $90 or whatever, but I'm happy to chip in if you need a mic, right? And I've given away 2 mics, Spee 69 and Red King. I'm looking at both of you, right? Red King, who never actually brings that mic. But anyways, even if you're ready to shout out to Red King, we love you, man.
Shout out to Red King.
Even if you just take the grill and say, do you have a SM58? Plug that shit on there and just take care of your health.
Do you also think, though, speaking about that you can, sound engineers, right? They see a lot of attitude, right? They see a lot of people who think they're amazing, but if you speak to them and you're just on a level, right, and you come professional, they always, like, a lot of them remember who you are, but it always sound, do you know what I mean? I've always gone to sound guy, hey, Mr. Soundman. I always call him Mr. Soundman. I like that.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Soundman, we've got our own mic, blah, blah, blah. This is what we do. We only need this setup. And we speak to them, and, and they're always on a level. Now, I have worked with sound guys who think they're amazing and they talk all the lingo. Yep. That's just, you know what? Ignore it, right? It's cool. They just like showing off. They like showing off about.
Yeah, that's just
but they just like to show off what they do. But I think with regards to guys getting into the music industry and going to performance shows, you need to know some of these things beforehand. And again, ask one of your elders, ask someone who's in the scene about it. But there's loads of things you need to know. Like, you need to know about the back line at venues when you're playing, or the front line, or what's in house, what you're required to bring. How is your music getting played around the club, your instrumentals, like Taj has been saying, mic wise, if you go up to the sound guy and you're like, I've got my own SM58. Can we just that guy's gonna love you. He's just gonna be like, yes, one of my mics is not gonna get broke now by somebody throwing
it.
But
also some of these sound guys, right, they're coming in and they don't own the equipment. They're just given this equipment and they just have to deal with it. So you being given a bashed up microphone, it's not his fault. The venue should be keeping an eye on this kind of thing. And mate, talking about how you're going to play your music, remember that gig in Edinburgh? The guy was like, don't have a USB slot. Oh no, what was it? He didn't have an auxiliary slot or whatever. I'm like, Excuse me.
I remember every
guy, man.
I remember every amazing gig, and I remember every bad gig, and it's all part and parcel of
that was a bad
performing
one.
and being an artist. So
I think even the sound engineers sometimes, this has only happened to me a handful of times, right? But they're just like, oh yeah, I've done sound checks with drummers before. I'm like, I'm not a drummer. I actually keep it all dry, and you're sitting there banging on effects on my beatboxing, and then I'm going to have to explain to the audience that, I'm doing all of this, and the effects, like, I need it off, otherwise it looks like I'm cheating, and that's not what you want. You know what I mean? And that gig in Edinburgh, man, that got to me, especially because he wasn't playing your music and told you to buy another laptop and whatnot. I'm just like, that's unprofessional.
But I think a lot of that comes down to, this from the sound guy as well, and I've had DJs do it, they don't expect everybody to be of this level of professionalism. So with regards to DJs doing it, playing the track, looping it, whatever, if they're there to DJ that night and they've offered to do it for you, I turn up, with you, we know how long our beats are, everything's practiced and rehearsed, but they're just not used to it. And I think with sound guys as well, with you,
maybe
they get carried away. They hear you beatboxing, they're like, oh, I could do this. When you're making a track and you're like, oh, I can add this to it, we can do that. It's just the case. I think it's a case of them getting involved and not realising. And yeah, of course. And
that's it, man. And I don't blame them, do you know what I mean? And they probably don't see a beatboxer every gig. Probably see a beatboxer like once a year, once every 2 years or whatever. But it's just that attitude of, I know better. When you've said to him, look, I've been gigging for 20 years, this is how I like my mic to sound, can you please just do that? And do you remember we did that gig? I don't think I should say the gig name actually, because we know who it is. Then, like, I said to the...
Let's not speak on... Yeah.
I was like, mate, I said don't put any effects on it, but during my performance he decides to put some effects on. I'm like, bruh, like, it's a packed out venue, you have to stop and say, keep my mic dry. You also don't want to be bitchy with the sound man, because then he will ruin your whole set. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially not halfway through. Yeah, halfway through the set, you don't want to be like slagging the sound guy down the mic, because he will cut your microphone off.
He'll do everything to ruin your set, But big ups to all the sound engineers out there who do listen and pay attention to the artist up on that stage. Shit, man, how do we get on like talking about sound guys, man?
It's you just like going ranting on a tangent, mate. It's all good. But listen, we're gonna wrap this up a little bit. But it's been cool talking to you, man.
You too.
Hopefully we can, we can work on more of these in the future. Ideally, we want to get people in when we can meet up properly again. We're gonna record these more regularly.
Person,
and we'll talk about things, music stuff. Let's get some guests on and chat and do our thing.
Get some songs on.
It's been really cool chatting to you, man. And
you too.
We'll put this out and see what people are saying. But
right,
until the next one, you've been listening to the Chopping Block. I've been Spee, and that has been Big Taj. Peace. The Chopping Block.